Ham Radio 2.0, Lunchtime Livestream. I show about a minute till 12 right now, so good morning. Ham Radio 2.0, Livestream. I might be a little bit too close to the mic. Oh boy. Thanks for joining the chat early, guys. Saw Andy in there earlier, the Gaming Ham. Kyle's in there snooping around somewhere. C. Blanton, WB8EJS, 45 Auto. Bob's in the chat too. He's watching from the other end. He'll be bringing him on here shortly. Hey, there's Frank. What do you know? Frank is in the chat. Good deal. All right, I show 12 o'clock. So, hey guys, good noon time. It's officially 12 o'clock, so it's not morning and it's not afternoon. It is good noon. Good noon to everybody. Thanks for being here today. Got a cool show lined up for you. We're going to be catching up with Bob, K6UDA, here from the K6UDA radio YouTube channel. You guys have seen him before, of course. He's been on my channel several times. Got a great channel of his own. He pretty much outdoes everyone on thumbnails. He's got these really wicked-ass looking thumbnails that have a lot of colors in them. So, you know, it's all good stuff there. But it's fun to watch his videos. He does a really good job with them. So before we get started, tomorrow is the official North Texas Giving Day that I've mentioned for the last 2 or 3 live streams on the channel. We will be at Hop and Sting Brewing. hopandSting.com is the website for the brewery. Something I just noticed, actually, this right here, it might be kind of hard to see. This is their upcoming food truck schedule. So Thursday, September 23rd, which is tomorrow, that's when we'll be there. At 4 p.m., the Vaqueros, Texas barbecue truck will be there. Let me tell you, these guys know how to brisket. Okay, so if anybody ever wants to taste like really kind of like the best brisket in Texas, show up to this thing tomorrow. Hop and Sting officially opens at 3 p.m. I'll be there actually before that to set up. I worked out a thing to get there a little bit early. The North Texas Giving Day event officially starts at 5 p.m. I suspect we'll go for about 2 hours, something like that. Of course, you don't have to stay for the whole thing. You don't have to be there right at 5 p.m. when it starts. You can get there early. You can get there late. You can get there whenever. I'm probably going to start the live stream at 5 p.m. But once again, we will be benefiting Dallas Pets Alive, which is my dog rescue organization, for North Texas Giving Day. And never done anything like this before. Not a specific live stream for a charity, especially one outside of ham radio. So let's see how it goes. But I wanted to get a good ham radio presence there at the brewery tomorrow. K8MRD is going to drive up. He's going to be there. He's going to meet me here, and then we're going to drive up to the brewery together. It's only like 10 minutes from my house. Frank's going to be there. I think there's a couple other guys who might be coming in from out of town, but I know some of the local guys will be here for sure. So I hope you guys can make that if you're able to. Come up there after work, come up there early, get there at 3 o'clock, whatever you want to do. My next monthly meeting for my patrons is Saturday at 10 a.m. I sent out a message to the patrons, I guess it was Monday, and said, hey, we're going to meet at 10 a.m. I'm running a little bit behind with it this month because I was out of town for 3.5 weeks, basically from Huntsville Hamfest until September 12th or 13th, something like that. So we're going to catch up with that. Everybody with this middle tier and higher is invited to call. It'll be a recorded Zoom call, just a private call between me and the patrons. And then after the meeting ends and the recording is finished, I'll upload it and I'll share it with everyone on Patreon. So that's how that works. So bring your questions, bring your comments, bring your ideas, stuff that you want to see on the channel. You guys make the channel possible, and I appreciate all of the support you've given me over the last 6.5 years, really. So, all right, let me go over to this view again, and I can hear myself in Bob's Zoom. Now we got you unmuted, Bob.
Let me mute the audio there.
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah. And sorry, guys, I can't keep typing at you.
Oh, you're in there chatting? Okay.
I'm in there chatting. I'm being one of your admins. Hey,
Yeah. So what's up, man? How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Just hanging out, doing the Idaho thing,
Idaho thing.
enjoying the great outdoors while it still exists here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, until winter time. And then I
Oh,
guess
yeah.
now I haven't been here for the beginning of winter. I moved
Mhm.
here in January.
Mhm.
It was a bit of a shock. My first video here, there was snow on the ground. it
Oh,
was uh,
yeah.
it was kind of fun. But now, I've been here for almost a year now. It'll be a year come January, and
Nice.
I'm loving it, man.
Mhm.
I love the freedom. I love the community here. I
Mhm.
love the
Mhm.
ham radio group here.
Good.
Having a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, I'm really glad that that you've finally gotten I know it took you a lot longer than what you wanted to get settled. And I guess technically you're not even 100% settled yet. But cuz we were talking about Studio B before the stream started, and you're like, "Yeah, that's nowhere." So,
Yeah. Studio B right now is storage for a bunch of ham radio gear.
well, all right, that works too.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was gonna start Studio B this summer. That was a kind of on my list, and it just kept getting pushed back and pushed back.
mhm,
Uh, my intent is to build this a wall of shelving, and
mhm,
with
mhm,
a desk and shelving to basically house radios and rotators and all the stuff that I need for a contest station in there.
mhm,
And the lumber costs have gone through the roof,
mhm,
and I kind of figured it would cost me $500 to $1,000 just to buy the lumber and materials I need to put Studio B together. And I was kind
mm,
of like, you know what? I'm going to wait for a little while because I know those prices are coming down. At
mhm.
some point, it's
Some
going to
point.
crash.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's what I was telling you before the stream. I want to redo the deck on my beach house in Galveston, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to wait another year for that. It's just the price is ridiculous on lumber right now, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. You got to deal with it as it comes. So, well, good deal.
Yeah. So,
Um,
hey, how's the audio with the new lavalier uh, microphone here?
yeah, it sounds fine here on this end. So you guys let us know in the chat how Bob's audio is. I don't. I mean, it sounds fine on my end through the headphones here. Um, but yeah, good. Yeah, you were talking about that's a Blue Yeti mic, right? There next to you.
This is a Blue Yeti over here.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Great studio mic, not such a great ham radio mic.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've tried it. I've got a couple of Hiles and everything that I use when I'm really operating. The and guys say, oh yeah, you don't need that fancy mic. Well, this works fantastic when I'm doing the voiceover stuff, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing some of the stuff. But like on my last not this week's live stream, last week's live stream,
Mm-hmm.
um, guys were bitching that when I turned and I run over here, like I switch cameras and I go to, let's see if I could do this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If I run over to here and I'm doing things here,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't be able to hear me. And then when I turned over here and let's go back to camera one. When I'm, when I would talk to camera one over here, as opposed to camera two, I'm right on the Yeti mic and I can talk
Mm-hmm.
right into it.
Right.
But camera one, it would, my voice would be going this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeti mic's behind me,
Mm-hmm.
can't hear me, sounds like crap. I still haven't used the swear jar yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet. Yeah, yeah.
Not yet.
Frank said he had the swear. Frank said he had the swear jar ready to go. So
it's coming. It's coming,
It's
baby. Let's see who's
So
in the chat today.
folks are saying that Bob sounds good. They said somebody said you sounded a little bassy, but I'm like, that's just because you got a deep voice, I think. 45 Auto says Bob's audio is not bad, but not as good as Jason's. Well, I certainly hope not, because this is an actual Heil microphone.
Ooh.
So I certainly hope that my audio sounds better than a lavalier microphone. However, we were talking about getting. I was thinking about getting a lav mic to be able to plug into my soundboard in here to try to do some, so I could do some shack moving around in future videos, not in a live stream, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But all right, so you mentioned
I did this mainly for the live streams.
Yeah.
Because I use Rode mics that are mounted on cameras and stuff, and into another board, but I can't use the Rode mic on YouTube or on live, just because everything's got to plug in to USBs in this setup that I have. Now, you had a great idea, and I'm going to look into that, is getting a mixing board that is USB compatible. So everything, all your mixing stuff goes into the board, you mix it down, and then you come out on USB. I got to look at that idea. That might be the next big thing.
Yeah, I got this idea. Actually, I got this board idea from Gary Pierce at Hem Radio Now several years ago. He said this was the board he used, so I bought it, and I've had it for probably 3 or 4 years now. But it's got 8 channels, but really it claims it's 12 channels, because channels 5 through 9 are duplicated, so you've got like dual channels in one. But I've only actually ever used 3 of them at one time. So it'll do a lot more than what I'm doing with it. But it's got a single USB A or USB B, the square modular plug coming out of the back of the board, going into a regular USB A plug that plugs directly into the computer, obviously. And then it shows up as a USB audio codec driver in Windows, probably something similar in a Mac, I would guess. And then that audio capture, Windows sees it as one capture. So I can go and I can add it to Streamlabs. I could add it to StreamYard. If I use StreamYard, I could add it to whatever. And then I can adjust the microphones, the settings, and who gets muted all over here on the board. So I could easily switch microphones. In fact, I got a second microphone right there that Frank has used several times. You guys can't see it. It's right there. But it allows me to kind of manipulate everything that I want to do, but it's just a single USB feed. So I don't have like 5 or 6 USB feeds all coming into Windows, because Windows would probably freak out about that. So
yeah, now Kyle
makes it real easy.
AA0Z says that he has an Allen and Heath USB mixing board and it works great. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Kyle, send me a link to that, or Jason, send me a link to yours.
Sure. Yeah, mine's a what is it? Behringer. Mine's a Behringer board. I'll send you a link to it. So
yeah,
you can get mine on Amazon and or eBay. They're not. I think they're about $120, something like that. They're not bad, but the fact that I've used it for 3 or 4 years and it's worked flawlessly is pretty good, I think. So
yeah.
But yeah. So tell us about, Bob. You kind of alluded to it a couple times. You've got a new live stream that's going on Monday. So you used to live stream on Thursdays, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. During COVID, I started live streaming on Thursdays back in California. And you see, now I would have picked it back up on Thursdays, but Thursday at about that time, the local club here, every week, we meet out at the airport for lunch.
Oh,
so
cool.
I like to go have lunch with my friends.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I decided, well, you know what other day can I live stream? And I want to I like the lunchtime live stream. Not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
Unemployed guys like me can do it. Guys that, have a traditional lunch hour, they can do it. But, a few more people will watch it on the playback. But, I decided, well, you know what? Mondays. Why not Monday?
Sure.
everybody hates being back at work on Monday.
Yeah.
So yeah. So hang on here. So Mike, KB5OFU
Yeah.
says, where are all your patches? I sent you one showing a while back in California was Tarrant County patch. Let me pick up, I'm gonna pick up a webcam here. I'm gonna pull this crappy filter off of it.
All right.
And let's go over to camera 2, and there is my wall of patches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess I should probably, well, I want to put that somewhere. Crap. You know, but I put the big monitor right there. I guess I could put it over here, and maybe, just maybe, you guys might be able to see it. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. Go to camera 1 again, and hey, you know what? I'm kind of getting the hang of this whole YouTube thing.
That's what it's all about. That's what live streams are great for, I think, is a time to kind of tinker around with some settings. Like, I wonder how this would work. Oh, nope, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what I just noticed is when I'm not looking at the, when this camera, when camera 2 over here is not looking at me, it's not all red.
Right. Yeah.
People were commenting that I looked, you know, extremely red.
Huh.
Well, you know, it could be the red shirt, but
yeah, could be.
You know, whatever.
Okay. Well, cool.
So anyway, back to the lunch and ham radio, I call it, because, you know, doing the whole what was it, the quarantine live thing, that's just getting old. This whole COVID thing, I am so done with COVID. We don't have COVID here in the Magic Valley of Idaho. I'm pretty much here by myself, you know, most of the day, or you know, Mrs. K6UDA is running around and a few friends, but yeah, I'm not too worried about it here, and I'm so over the whole mask and lockdowns and everything. I just hate hearing about it. So anyway, lunch and ham radio. I'm actually planning on having lunch with you guys.
You know, I did that when I first started mine. I did that. Frank and I would eat lunch together over Zoom and live stream it, and that's how the whole thing started. And it was right during when the lockdowns shortly after they started, not right when they first started, but shortly after that. And I thought, you know, people are going to get tired of this. This is going to be a short-lived thing. Blah. And I tried to shut it down sometime towards the end of last year. Maybe it's the beginning of this year. I don't remember. I told everybody, I was like, you know, I think it's run its course. I think I'm going to shut it down. Everybody's like, no, don't. We love this. This breaks up the day. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I got 114 people watching me right now.
That's awesome.
I can't complain with that.
No.
That's pretty great. Most other guys who do live streams do it in the evenings because the audience is greater in the evenings, but I'm having lots of fun with the daytime live stream. It's just a fun time to get together with people who can. Like Frank right now, he's in the chat, but he's at work. So I'm sure he's getting a lot done right now. But
I agree. I enjoy doing the lunchtime live stream a lot more than the guys. Well, or than I would, I think, if I did it in the evening. Yes, the audience is a little greater in the evening, but the beautiful thing about YouTube is that these videos last forever.
True.
Well, until YouTube decides that we're undesirables.
Right. Yeah. Deplorables. Is that the word?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. But
And
yeah,
then they
that's
won't
good.
last anymore. But
No,
hey,
no.
you know what? I am starting to. I'm trying to upload my stuff now to Rumble, and I'll whatever else comes up. So you know what? If YouTube decides that I am no longer acceptable on their platform,
yeah.
I can go ahead and continue somewhere else. If I was smart like some of these other guys, I'd be on like multiple things. I know you're on Discord, you're on Facebook Live or Facebook something, and
well, I'm
Twitch and everything else.
I multicast this stream and all my other live stream, my YouTube live streams to Twitch, my Facebook group, and my Facebook page. I'm about to make some changes to that. Hopefully, I'm kind of working on some stuff in the back end there. But you said Rumble. I got my stuff posted to Rumble, although it's not. I don't keep up with that as much as I should. But I've got to. But it auto posts to a service called I can't remember what it's called now. There's Odyssey. So there's one called Odyssey out there, Odyssee, that you just set up a one-time link, and every time you put something new on YouTube, whether it's a live stream or an upload, it just auto posts it to Odyssey, so it's there also. So it's almost like a backup system.
Very cool. I like that.
Yeah. So
I'm sure all the political guys, they're all doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they don't know when they're going to get taken down.
Right. Yeah, some of those guys can get kind of out there. I mean, to each his own, whatever. But I've never had anyone come by the channel and yell at me for something I said. So on one of those other platforms. So now I haven't had anyone do that on YouTube either. But
right,
you never know. So here's a shot of Bob's channel, and yeah. Here's repurposing my Anytone 878. So there we go right there. And that was yesterday?
That was what day is it?
Today's Wednesday, so it's 2 days ago.
You see, I'm retired, and
I don't know what day it is.
Every night is Friday night. Every Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
I do what I want. No, that was Monday actually. And really Monday. Here, I'll show you the Anytone. And in a nutshell, what I did, because I've been getting very heavily into the side-by-side scene out here. So what I did with, you've got a different, you got something else up right now.
It's behind. It'll switch. You're back on camera on
live. Am I back on camera?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching. So anyway, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I've taken my Anytone 878 because this radio is built like a brick shit house. Ooh, and there's the swear jar.
There it is. The swear jar. Super chats are now open, ladies and gentlemen.
It really is. I gotta say, of every handheld radio that I own, I gotta hand it to Anytone. This thing really, it's built like a cop radio, and I say it's probably cop proof, which means
that's pretty good.
These things will last no matter what kind of crap you throw at it. And that was my biggest reason for using this radio. But anyway, I set this thing back up as a commercial radio, and it does still do all the ham radio functions, but it doesn't do a few of them in the commercial mode. Anyway, I put in all my buddies that I'm riding with. They started buying all these rugged radios, and the rugged radios come pre-programmed with a whole bunch of commercial frequencies and some GMRS frequencies. Well, if any of you guys had been watching any of my shows, My last review was of this Garmin GPS, which also has a built-in MERS radio, which is very, very cool. And I just see you got a super chat there to make up.
Well, yeah, that was actually Andy joining a membership for 18 months, which I didn't know you could do that. So thank you, Andy. He was already a member. He was a YouTube channel member. And it says member for 18 months. Good news. I don't know what that exactly means, because it's different looking than most of them are. Jody VE5SAR donated $2.23 in Canadian dollars to monetize the swear jar. 223.
223, baby.
Magic number.
Yeah, that's the magic number. And I see James there.
Yeah, there's
awesome.
James. Thanks, guys. Yep. It's all in good fun.
Jason, thanks you. You guys could come to my live stream and super chat me.
Yeah.
My swear jar is usually full.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so I took the Anytone here. I programmed all of the rugged radio frequencies in this thing.
Okay.
I programmed in all of the MERS frequencies, some FRS stuff, GMRS, all the local police, fire, stuff like that in here for scanner purposes, and ham radio stuff. So all of these other frequencies, I would say I could monitor those just fine. And in an emergency, in a life-threatening emergency, all bets are off, and I can do, I could use this thing if I need to.
Right.
Because you got to remember, when you're out on the trail, the cell phone doesn't work most of the time. I'm usually within a mile or so of other guys in my group. You travel far enough away that the dust isn't killing you all the time. And sometimes, you'll get behind or you'll, whatever. So in the event I crash and I can't get a hold of anybody on my MERS frequencies, I have this that I can use as a backup. So I'm not in violation. I'm not doing wrong.
Right. Well, and technically speaking, that is a part, if you put it into commercial mode, it is a Part 90 radio. Now, Part 90 is not technically legal to use on FRS and GMRS frequencies, but like you said, in an emergency, it's all bets are off. But Part 90 does open it up to several commercial aspects.
Yeah.
So, I used to, I've met GMRS guys in the past that would use Motorola radios, not Motorola GMRS radios, but like MCS 2000s and XPR series of radios and Spectra radios, and they would use them on GMRS, and I'm like, is that? And they're like, well, they're Motorola, so they're approved for everything. And I got to looking at it, it's like, that's technically not true, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I don't condone. The law is stupid. Okay, in my opinion, the law is stupid. If you have a license, you should be able to transmit on that frequency regardless of what radio you've got, but because the license gives you privileges on that specific frequency. Not CB radio and FRS radio not counting because they're license free, but regardless of what I think of the law, that is the current law right now.
Yes.
And it's not technically legal to do that, but like you said, it's good to have something handy in a pinch, because if you get into an emergency, a life-threatening emergency, then who the heck cares? I mean, that's just you're going to need something to communicate with.
Yep. Better tried by 12 than carried by 6.
That's right. Yeah. Andy Callie with the $1.79. Is that a pound or a euro sign? I always get those two confused. So thank you for the super chat. And IK04 with 308. He says big bore. So
I think that's a pound from Andy.
Okay, maybe that's a pound. I think he's in England.
Andy,
so yeah.
And Andy, yes, I still owe you this, and I'm gonna send it. I just hate going to the post office.
Yeah.
And I gotta fill out a customs form too. And man, that's that takes forever.
Yeah. So Bob, you excuse me, you mentioned, and we don't have to get off into a big tangent on this, but you mentioned rugged radios, and I've done a couple of videos on those guys,
Mhm.
and they've actually emailed me, and quite frankly, I was very impressed with their tone of their email. They were like, "Hey, we saw your video," because I was talking about this FCC fine they had received, and I didn't like call them names or say they're stupid or say they're a ripoff. I didn't say anything like that. I was just like,
Mhm.
"Here's what the FCC says," and then they emailed me. They were very pleasant to deal with, and they gave me some talking points. So I did a follow up video. But having said that, have you ever looked at bettersaferadio.com? Are you familiar with that website?
Never heard of them.
Okay. So bettersaferadio.com, they reached out to me a while back. What they're doing in a nutshell, and their prices are much more reasonable. That's why I ask.
Mhm.
They do pre-programmed radios as well. And they're usually these this the one? Yes. This KG-UV9 Papa.
Mhm.
This guy right here is a Better Safe radio. It comes it's got 999 memory channels. About 700 of those channels are pre-programmed for MERS, FRS. Of course, it won't transmit. I think there's a way to open it up if you want to. But a lot of police and fire frequencies. I think there's even like race car frequencies in there, and there's simplex frequencies all over the place. A bunch of ham radio repeaters.
Okay.
But they come pre-programmed. It's a better radio. The
Mhm.
the Waxon radio is a better radio than the Bofang, in my opinion,
Yes.
and they're much more reasonably priced than the
Okay.
rugged radio stuff. So you might go check out that website and tell your buddies about that website because, in my opinion, that they do a much better job of pre-programmed items than what and I haven't reviewed or purchased or ever used one of the rugged radios. So
Mhm.
I'm just talking about what I've read about them.
Yes.
I would like the opportunity to
I
compare them
know that
one day, but I
the
haven't done that. I'm just
yeah,
trying to be
I know
fair.
that the ruggeds are pretty expensive. It's pretty
Yeah.
spendy.
Hmm.
My buddy, I had his uh I had his what is it, his UV5R, they call it something else.
Yeah.
His rugged radio over here. He brought it over. I downloaded his code plug onto Chirp and cloned it onto my little UV5X3, which is
Yeah.
better than a UV5R because
Yes.
it's actually 3 bands.
Hmm.
So I've got all the rugged radio stuff from his on there. I programmed in a few other things onto his, gave
Hmm.
it back to him. They all just bought these new kits for their side by sides that have the
Hmm.
intercom and everything.
Hmm.
And that is really what interested me, was the whole intercom system, so I could actually talk to Mrs. K6UDA
Hmm.
while we're riding, because it gets pretty loud. And
Hmm.
the I got to tell you this quick little story.
All right.
We were riding one day. We were in our old side by side, and I had just blown out the two front shocks on it, and it was just a horrible, horrible ride. It was freezing ass cold. It was in March
Mm.
of this year, and everybody else is doing about 70. Well, we had an old Polaris 800.
Hmm.
Wouldn't do 70 on its best day. We're doing about 40, and it's like riding on a board because there's no front
Mm.
shocks. They're just collapsed.
Mm.
Anyway, Mrs. K6UDA was absolutely scared shitless. There's more. We need more. Anyways, she was, and she kept pointing at the speedo and going, and saying, "Oh, you've got to slow down. You've got to slow down." And I could hear her, but I pretended like I didn't hear her. And I pointed at the speedometer, and I went, "Yeah," and kept going. She wanted to slow down so bad.
From 40. Wow.
Well, it felt like we were going 100, because I mean, it
Yeah.
was like you're going 40 over washboard and crap,
Uh-huh.
and you've got no suspension.
Oh
So,
gosh.
so now we get in, fast forward a couple of months, I bought a new side by side. I now have a Polaris 1000 XP, non turbo, but yeah. Anyway, great suspension. And now we could do 70 over those same trails, and she doesn't even bat an eyelash.
Okay.
Wonderful. But anyway, you still can't hear each other very well. So at speed, it'd be nice to have the intercom system and tie it in with the radio and do the whole bit.
True.
And it's really nice. It's kind of a comfort thing to be able to talk to the guys ahead of you. And if you've got problems, if they've got problems, and you don't have to keep everybody in sight. Now, one of my things with this Garmin Tread that I was trying to do was to get everybody to go to this Garmin Tread, so we'd be able to see where each other, see everybody on the screen, know where they are, be able to send them a text message through the Garmin, and also talk on the MERS frequencies, which would be totally legit, because hey, it's MERS. But most of these guys have decided against spending the money for the Tread, because the Tread is very spendy too.
Is it really?
$800 for a GPS.
Oh wow.
It's
that's kind of pricey.
It's an off-road deal, but
yeah.
So if anybody from Garmin happens to be watching this, get in touch with me. There's a few things you guys could do to really make it worth $800.
$800. Yeah, I pulled it up just now. So does it say, and I admit I did not see that one of your videos. I missed. So, sometimes YouTube will tell me when you guys post new stuff, and say you guys, other YouTubers that I follow. Sometimes they'll tell me when you post new stuff, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes I'll go to somebody's channel, I'll be like, well, there's 4 videos here. I had no idea because I got no notifications about it. But you said it'll send text messages. Is there some sort of subscription service that goes along with that, like the InReach has?
No, this is a totally, and I haven't been able to test it because I don't know anybody else who owns a Tread. But
so it only text to another Tread then? I can't send a text message
only text to another Tread.
Gotcha.
Send a message to another Tread that's in your riding group. And you set up
Gotcha.
Well, let me fire it up here and see if
real quick before you, while that's booting up, Bob, Joseph Gauss, I'm probably saying your last name wrong, dude. On your 878, does the Nagoya antenna perform? How does the Nagoya antenna perform to the stock antenna? Have you tried the Nagoya?
I like the Nagoya antenna. I've got that same antenna on basically all of my handhelds. One of the things I do want to try is that signal stick.
Yes. Yeah. I put the signal stick on my R Finder, and it works beautifully. I really like it on that.
Really?
So yeah.
Well, I'll have to order a couple of those and stick them on all my radios and give them a shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, the function I'm talking about, and you probably want to pull me up into more of a full screen there.
Gotcha.
Is this group ride function.
Okay. It's a little bright, but now, we can see it.
We had talked earlier about the whole Wires X YouTuber thing, and it's going crazy right now.
See, I hear that beeping, but I'm monitoring it myself, and I don't have any activity at all. I'm gonna make sure I'm on the right. I gotta make sure I'm on the right thing. Yeah, FCS 003 Room 48 YouTubers.
Yeah. Yes.
That's where I'm showing.
348 might be down. It might be a Wires X only.
It might be a Wires X. Yeah, your reflector, your hotspot reflector might be down. Okay, go ahead about your Garmin. Though.
Okay, so along with all the mapping and everything, it does have. And let me explore. ABC track, the radio. So it does have the radio function. And it has to be in the cradle for the radio to work. So the radio ain't going to work right now. But the other thing that it has is this group ride function. I would love to be able to test the group ride function. I would have loved to been able to include that in my review of this thing. But unfortunately, nobody else was willing to spend $800
Yeah.
review. Now, the whole reason I ended up with this was I was actually looking at doing a Polaris ride command.
Okay.
And the Polaris ride command, if you add it in afterwards on your machine, when I priced it out, it was about $1,800 to add it to my car. So that was kind of out of the question. At $800, I was like, oh yeah, this is a bargain compared to that. And it does a lot of the stuff that Ride Command does. So anyway, this was a $800 experiment.
Well, that's kind of a neat feature. Yeah. And the fact that I want to say I heard about some other just like straight up MERS radios that would do text messaging, but now I'm going to have to go look that up because that sort of data transfer over MERS is legal where it's not legal over like FRS or maybe even GMR. I'm not sure about GMRS. I'd have to look that up too.
But I don't think you could do the data on GMRS.
No, I don't think so.
That's a phone only kind of a frequency set. But MERS is, MERS is small. It's five distinct VHF frequencies.
Right.
Where GMRS and FRS are both UHF. Yeah. MERS is VHF.
Right.
And so it's a little bit, it'll carry a little bit further. It'll carry over a few hills and through some trees. But there's only 5 frequencies. So it's limited in that way. But you can have I believe you can have a more powerful radio. You can have an antenna that is remote mounted.
Yeah.
I don't think you can have repeaters on MERS.
I don't think I've ever seen a MERS repeaters. Now you can have remote mounted antennas and up to 50 watts on GMRS, but GMRS is a paid license.
Yes.
And
MERS is free.
MERS is free. MERS is like FRS is free, and it has bigger and better radio capabilities. So yes, agreed. Yeah. So I've tinkered around with MERS a bit. What I was wanting to do was get there's 5 of us on my hunting lease. 2 of us are hams. Actually, we might be, I don't know, 2 of us are hams. There might be a third one, maybe. And the other 2 guys have, one of them has a GMRS license. So the 1 or 2 guys, and we have 4 members, possibly 5. The 1 or 2 guys without the GMRS license, I was going to tell them, go get your license as soon as the rates dropped to $35 from their current $7, but they haven't done that yet. So now I'm like, maybe we should tinker around with MERS instead of doing the whole GMRS thing right now until the rates drop. Because I was wanting to set up a GMRS repeater at the deer lease and just kind of leave it up there. And because you get on some sides of those hills and there's some of those GMRS radios don't reach out very well. But if I had to put up a repeater like 20 or 30 feet in the air, but just above the tree line, that would work great. But maybe I should experiment with MERS and try that. That's a good idea. Now that you bring that up, I think that might be kind of fun to tinker with and just kind of compare the two and see how they compare.
We don't want to let that cat out of the bag about MERS.
Oh,
because then everybody's going to be on high frequency.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Very true. All right. So Don Deagidio wants to know if that's an AMC in the picture behind you. I thought that looked like a Challenger to me.
That's a CUDA.
A CUDA, yeah.
That's a Barracuda.
It's a Barracuda.
And I've owned a Challenger that I had for years and years and years. That was my high school car. And I sold it about 7 or 8 years ago because I wasn't driving it. It was I was afraid to take it out. I had restored that thing 2 or 3 times and or restified it a couple of 3 times. I turned it into my last one. I kind of did the chip foose thing on it, and went, just totally gangster. It was a badass looking car, but I was afraid to leave it anywhere that I couldn't watch it, because I knew it was going to end up in Mexico someday or somewhere else. And then I had a 70 Challenger. That was my race car. Or I mean, a 70 Challenger, a 71 CUDA. That was my race car, and it was just a shell of a CUDA, no VIN number, no intrinsic value as a Chrysler product. But I am a Mopar guy through and through.
I had a '68 Dodge Charger in high school. That was my first. In fact, that was the first car I ever bought when I turned 16. I was poking around through the paper, and we went and looked at several cars. All of the Chevelles back then, you would find a Chevelle. This was before the internet. You would find a Chevelle in the newspaper, and you'd call the guy, "Oh, somebody bought that yesterday." Like, okay, I wanted like a 68 to a 71-ish Chevelle. I didn't want like a 74, 75 Chevelle, but those Chevelles went real quick. But this guy had this, and he had it overpriced. I ended up offering him a lot less than what he asked for it. But yeah, that was my first car, was a '68 Dodge Charger. And man, I wish I had that thing back. There's guys now that are paying thousands of dollars for one of those that's a body with no suspension, no glass, no interior, and it's sitting in a field all rusted out, and they'll pay $3 or $4 grand for it. And I'm like,
3 or 4 grand, they'll pay 10 grand.
No, maybe even 10 grand now. Yeah, it's just been, those things are so hard to get a hold of now.
Oh,
I'm just like, man.
Unbelievable. Mine, I actually, when I sold my Challenger, a guy in Japan bought it.
Really?
Yeah. So it got loaded into a container, onto a boat, and sent over to Japan.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I bet that's a rare car to see on the road in Japan. You're driving down the road in Japan on the wrong side of the road. You look over, you're like, wow, what is that?
Yeah. What a hell of a status symbol over there, though.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Sheesh.
American muscle.
American muscle. Can't beat that. Yep. Oh, that's fun. That's real fun.
So anyway, that's the car over here is the CUDA. And that was just a poster that I really enjoyed. My wife had it framed for me. So.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Okay. So good.
What else?
Okay.
What else? Getting back onto the video making scene. I missed last week because I was in Oregon helping my buddy put up a 60 by 80 steel building. So, and I tried to live stream from his place in Oregon, but this is an off-grid place in Rogue River.
Very off-grid.
The phone doesn't work. He had satellite internet there, and there wasn't enough bandwidth to stream out of that place. So,
has he tried the Starlink yet?
I don't know what he's got, something called Xside or something.
No,
I don't know what it is.
Starlink's the new Elon Musk thing that's supposed to be the next step in internet evolution.
I think once he moves up there full time, and his wife's there, who is she's the internet guru of their family.
Okay.
I think maybe they'll opt for something a little faster. Anyway, that's why last week there was no live stream and no video because frankly I don't have any video in the can. I live hand to mouth, so to speak.
Paycheck to paycheck. Make one video, post it. Gosh, what am I doing next?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Unlike you, where you do a lot of stuff pretty much off the cuff, which in a way is very cool because you've got a minimal amount of editing to do. Me, I try to make these freaking cinema masterpieces out of every single video, and I've got 3 or 4 scene changes and this and that, and doing a million different effects and everything, because I'm trying to entertain people.
Yeah.
You're trying to inform people.
I'm just trying to get people interested in amateur radio. So
yeah,
no, yeah,
and I
no,
am
yeah,
too,
yeah.
but I'm
No, I
trying
know,
to do it in a way that'll bring people that aren't necessarily interested in ham radio and get them interested in ham radio.
Sure. Yeah, no, I the easiest videos to make are the ones sitting right here in the shack where I've got 2 or 3 cameras that I can switch scenes while recording using Streamlabs. While I'm doing the recording, I switch scenes. So that's like like production editing. And then I just have to do a few post-production edits after that, and I can upload the video. And those are easy to do. Now, I get a lot of really positive comments every time I do a field video. Which, if I was K6ARK or living out there where you guys live, I would go out and do soda every weekend also. But we don't have, like, I got to drive 4 or 5 hours to get to a halfway decent soda summit out here. Now, I did look up the other day some hiking trails around some of the parks. And Turner Falls in Oklahoma is only about a 2-hour drive from here. And that's a mountainous area. And so I thought about doing some just off-grid hiking. I've actually kind of a little bit, I'm spilling the beans on a couple things now. I've started to get a little bit into foraging. And I've started reading up on doing some foraging and living off the land type stuff. And so I thought about maybe putting together like a hiking trip just for myself. Just go out and just, backpack for a couple days or 2 or 3 days.
Oh, so you're one of them preppers.
I'm really not, but all of the books I've been reading, yeah, I'm becoming more and more so every day. So, so yeah, I would, and the funniest thing to me about preppers. Okay, these are some preppers is not the people let me put it this way, the people that I've met that are preppers. I had the urban prepper on this channel a few months back, Cliff. He's a really good dude, a great YouTube channel. The people who I have actually met and spoken with who are preppers, they're all very nice people, very down to earth, very, very level-headed. They're not like these people you see on CNN who are, doomsday prepper type folks. But
even the doomsday prepper types, a lot of them are really nice people, down to earth.
Yes.
You get media that wants to, like put them in the worst possible light that they can for eyeballs. Yeah,
you're right. But my thing, where was I going with that? My thing with they're really nice people, really down to earth, but or at least the ones I've met are, but none of them, like none of the ones I've met, when I say, so what do you do for communications when you're off grid? And they're like that, just I'm just like, dude, come on, seriously? That should be next to food and water and self-defense.
Number 3.
That should be like number 3 or 4. Food and water, maybe 1. Number self-defense.
Food, water, toilet paper, and communications.
There you go. Yeah. So I would put firearms somewhere up in there, probably maybe a little bit above the communications, but maybe even with it. Something like that. But I mean, food, water, protection, and not just protection from people, someone trying to rob you. I'm like if you're out in the woods, man, what if you run up on a rattlesnake or some crap like that?
There's bears, mountain lions.
Right. So bears typically, well, grizzly bears, black bears, they don't mess with you unless you corner them or something. But it's I mean, for the most part, I guess I'm not a bear expert, but but even so, just a loud noise, just fire a round into the ground and a loud noise will run off or something.
Yeah.
Like that. But I'm talking about stuff like man, we got a lot of feral hogs out here in Texas, and those guys get together in packs and they'll if you piss them off, they'll come after you. But loud noises usually deter them as well. But none of them think about comms. I'm like, guys,
I know.
So let's do some communications plans, man. So And the other thing, the ones that do think about it. Now, I'm not talking about anyone specifically here. The ones that do think about it, I often like they've got this $2,000 or $3,000 pack with all this expensive material and this really 20 degree below zero sleeping bag. This like a $300 sleeping bag and an awesome $150, $200 tent and a $150 pair of boots, like some of the best you can get. And then they carry a UV5R. And I'm like, you have cheesed on the part that might actually save your freaking life. if you're actually out somewhere and you need to communicate with someone because you've fallen over and broken your freaking leg and can't get out of the woods, and you're going to trust that to a $25 Bofang. So anyway,
I hear you. And, and that's the thing is, so many people, and I've got a lot of military friends, a lot of law enforcement friends. Anybody who's really kind of got their eyes open is a prepper, or is prepping and won't say it.
Right. Well,
and I call that being normal.
Right.
I call that just what, you're being prepared for whatever.
Correct.
Fires, floods, hurricanes. The end of the world as we know it, everything. And yes, because people look at these and they go, oh, I could order 5 of these things on Amazon for $100 and then I can give them out to my whole family. Yes, we get that. And there is value in having a $20 or $30 radio that's disposable.
Yes.
But really, when you think about it, I spend a lot of money on guns.
Yeah.
And I buy the best equipment I can afford for, I buy the best survival food that I can afford and that I can find. I buy or build the best firearms that I can afford. And really, and all these other guys do too. They spend hundreds of dollars on packs, on on plate carriers, on night vision, everything. You're trying to equip yourself to survive, and then you're using this.
And
I would, to those guys, I say, look, you need to really think about your comms plan and your equipment. And if you're willing to risk your life on a $30 radio, more power to you.
I tell you what, if you want to risk your life on a $30 radio, that's fine with me. I would like you to sell me all your firearms and I will give you my high point pistol. So that you can have the cheapest freaking pistol you can buy, which is a high point. I have a Yeet Commander.
Because you could buy 5 of them.
Yeah, 5.
For $1,000.
Right, exactly. You actually buy 5 of them for about $600, I think. But so,
well, not in California.
Well, no, probably not in California.
In California, you can't even find a high point. I think they're all illegal.
Oh, are they really? Wow, yeah.
Oh, well, that you and I could go on forever on the crazy crap that's going on in California.
Oh yeah,
with 2A. It is insane, and probably the number 2 reason I am here in Idaho and loving it, because I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah. Yep. Sadly, that's true.
It is.
Yeah. So let me give a shout out real quick to Mark Price. Wanted to say a quick thanks. Passed his tech last weekend and plan to go take his general this weekend. So congratulations, Mark. Let us know what your call sign is when you get it. If you passed it last weekend, it's very possible you have your call sign already because they're getting pretty quick about doing that.
Yeah.
So people are talking about
my adopted son, Garrett, and I mentioned and I gave him a shout out this week. Saturday he took his tech test and passed it, so he's a tech.
Excellent.
Studying for his general. And he called me right after my live show on Monday, and he says, hey, what radio should I buy? And I
Mm.
don't want to give any secrets away, but I said, just hold off on that because your birthday's next week.
Yeah,
Just hold off on
just
that.
hold off.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, I
Because
don't know.
his mom already called me and said, hey, what do I buy him?
Yeah, okay. Well, my nephew, which I haven't seen him in the chat today, but he's been studying. He'll like pick up the book every few days and look at it, but he hadn't been really putting a lot of time into it. But he does want to do it. He does. I can tell by talking to him. He does want to do it. He's 13, I think now, and so he's easily distracted. So I'm like, dude, you need to study and get it. And it's like he's like, well, I don't know what I was like, I'll get you a radio. I'll get you like 6 radios. I was like, just get your license. I've got enough radios around here. I'm like, ask your aunt, my wife, if I have enough radios. And she's going to be like, I have too many radios. But I was like, we'll get you a radio taken care of. Just go get your license, dude. Come on. So anyway.
Hey, looking at the chat, 45 Auto asked me, what do I think of Reds in Twin Falls? And he's referring to Reds Trading Post, which is the oldest continuously, or the oldest gun store in Idaho, in the whole state. And I like Reds. I've bought a lot of stuff from Reds. You know, they don't have the inventory of some of the other places, but they kind of specialize in the things that you don't see in a lot of other places. So like Reds, they've got some cool stuff. And let's see, Don, he's saying, hint, Flex Radio, directed at me. Don, I don't know what. Yeah, well, you know what? I don't have a Flex radio. Maybe if Flex wants to do something with me, hint, hint. Maybe you could turn me into a Flex guy. You know, right now I'm an Elecraft guy out in Studio B. That's an Elecraft station. In here, this is an ICOM station. So I don't know what to say. Don't own any Flex radios.
Have you picked up the new K4?
I haven't.
Okay. They're kind of pricey, but they're supposed to be like a freaking awesome radio. Yeah.
The K3 was pricey.
Yeah.
The K3 was absolutely, in my opinion, worth it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now with a lot of the newer stuff that's hitting the market, that's SDR based, including the 7300, which is a $1,200 radio, the 991A, which is another $1,200-$1,300 radio, SDR capabilities in a $1,000 radio. To me, that really sets the bar high. And if I'm going to spend $5,000 to $6,000 on a new HF rig, from anybody, it better be, it better have features, and it better be so cool that, it washes my glasses.
Thank you for keeping that clean.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I think the base price of that K4 is about $4,100.
And that's
right.
Like the K3, that's the base price.
Correct.
You start wanting filters, you want, you want more capabilities, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah. Elecraft has always been very modular. Now they make an awesome product. Elecraft's products are top notch, no question. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I'd have to sell off 2 or 3 other things to be able to afford that. So anyway, so
yeah. Unfortunately, I've got all the rest of the stuff that'll still work.
Yeah.
And I've been toying with the idea of a K4. they've got a huge backlog on the
Yes.
K4s right now
Yes.
on production.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not so
Yeah.
worried about, ooh, I'm missing out. Everybody's on a K4 now. It's still, it still isn't, the reality
Right.
of everything.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I hope they catch up on orders and
Oh, yeah.
and the K4 becomes, kind of that's well, it is going to be it is the Cadillac
Yeah.
right now.
Totally.
It's the Ferrari of
Yeah.
HF radios.
I've been not actively looking. I've been just kind of like, when I think about it, every few weeks I'll look. I thought that maybe the prices on the K3S I thought maybe the market would get flooded with K3Ss and the prices on them would kind of come down a little bit. And that still might happen, but with the backlog and the slow production release of the K4, that hadn't really happened. And plus, people started buying up all kinds of stuff, which inflates prices, when the chip shortage and lockdowns and all this other crap started happening. So I've always wanted a K3 or K3S. I've always wanted one. I have a KX3 that I love. In fact, I was working on some video stuff with it the other day. But if I ever find a K3 for a decent used price at a ham fest, I'm going to be picking up a K3 just because that's a fantastic radio. It really is. There's nothing in the world wrong with the K3 or K3S, and they're great rigs by themselves. Even if you didn't want to spend the money on a brand new K4.
Yeah, and in the chat, Dawn says the Hermes Light 2.0 SDR for 325. And that's true. You can get these SDR radios for relatively cheap. What you don't get is all the filtering, which is so important. Multiple antenna inputs, dynamic antenna inputs, and stuff that it'll mix different antennas and find the best signal for the conditions you're operating in right now. And those cheaper radio sets don't have that. They just you can't expect to buy a $5,000 radio for $1,000. It just, there's a reason. There's a reason that a Tesla Model S isn't a $30,000 car.
Yeah. I looked at the Hermes Light. I know Don's been pushing that Hermes Light for a while now. Now, I'm not saying they're not any good. I've never actually used one. I had the opportunity to borrow one 2 or 3 years ago from one of the guys. I don't even remember who it was. It's somewhere in my email. I think it was one of the guys who was in charge of the project, and he's like, I can send you this and this and this. You can do some videos on it, test it, send it back to me. I said, that's fine. Yeah, that's great. And I started asking him questions. I was like, well, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to want to know. And the basic, I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but the basic idea I got from him was that he didn't want me to do a video for entry-level people because they would get flooded. Their forum would get flooded with too many entry-level questions, and they didn't want to have to deal with all that. And I'm like, okay, kind of not in the spirit of amateur radio there, pal. Not
isn't
real.
That the whole thing?
Yeah.
Guys that have been doing this for 50 years.
Right.
They're not looking for the next big thing.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just something like that kind of. It just kind of didn't. Now he said, well, I don't think that we should do this. He didn't end up sending it to me, and I said, that's fine. It's, no hard feelings toward him at all. I didn't really. I just kind of gathered that the takeaway. The thing I took away from that was, if you want help with, if you buy one of these kits, these are kits that you put together yourself. If you buy one of these kits and put it together and you need help, probably not going to get it from them. There's a forum community out there for them, just like there's for Flex Radio and a lot of other places that you can get help from the user base, and that's great. But the fact that they didn't seem that my interpretation of that was that they didn't seem to want to support their own product, which again, this is not a commercial product. This is a kit that they say, hey, here you go, build it, have fun.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you're just basically buying the parts. They're not making any money off of this. They're not selling it commercially. Which I can understand that, but a lot of the times people will complain about prices on commercial products. I'm like, well, yeah, but you've got support for that product for the rest of your life, or the rest of the life of the unit that you're buying. And you don't have that with some of these do-it-yourself projects. So I don't know. That was kind of what I'd still like to try the Hermes Light and see. I've heard from a lot of people that it's a very good product, but I don't know. That just kind of didn't sit well with me. So I decided to move on to something else, because I've got, unlike you, Bob, I've got about a dozen videos sitting in the can right now that are recorded, and I haven't had time to edit yet and post yet. So
I wish I was. I wish I had your problems.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's awesome. You know, the fact of the matter is I just haven't been putting the time in filming stuff, because I've got so much to do, and I'm learning a whole new way of life.
Right.
So it kind of is what it is. Hey, another question from the chat here, from Edward Potsanak. Man, I just probably butchered the hell out of your name.
Yeah.
My opinion of the FT5.
FT5.
I like it. It is just like I was a fan of the FT3. The FT3 for the last year or two has been my it's been my kind of go-to everyday driver. My EDC radio. Much like that, the FT5, it's louder, which is always good. It has a few new features, so I'm a fan of it. I'm still a fan, and I'm working on a video that's going to really it'll be more of the opinion video than the technical video, because I did the technical video of the FT3, and this is not, this isn't a groundbreaking thing. This is evolutionary, not revolutionary.
Yeah, yes, agreed. Well, I think John Crook was on both of our channels.
Yes.
And I just kind of let him talk about what changes there are, why they chose to create a new radio, and this kind of thing. And he spoke about that for a good 20, 30 minutes on my channel.
Yeah, I did the same thing on mine.
Yeah.
And I totally get it. The parts and components issue in Japan was a big deal.
Yes.
And then having to get the FT3 basically,
recertified with FCC.
It didn't make sense.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the choice they made to create a new radio and change a few things was the right choice, in my opinion. I mean, because if they were going to have to go through that whole FCC process crap again, then might as well change a few things and provide some upgrades, because it does have some upgrades. The internal speaker of FT5 is much better than the FT3.
Yep.
What do they call it? The active monitoring mode. What did he call that? PMG. The PMG mode.
PMG, yeah.
And the FT5 is really it's much more user friendly than they called it something else in the FT3.
It's cam. Well, they still have the cam, which is they used to call it the club active monitoring.
Right.
And now the PMG works with the VFO in addition to memories.
Yes.
So that, there's that.
Right.
I don't think that they really did anything new with Bluetooth or anything. And I know there's a lot of guys that, they have these high expectations for Bluetooth on a radio, and to that, I personally, I almost never use Bluetooth with a ham radio. It just doesn't happen. I know guys want to have it link up to their car stereo and use the car stereo speakers and maybe the microphone for the car stereo activate the Vox on their radio and transmit. I see more headaches trying to do that than it's worth.
I like the Bluetooth. I use the Bluetooth capability on the radios that have Bluetooth, like for instance, the AT878. I've got the UV2 Plus. Well, I've got the UV Plus and the UV2 Plus both, and the Bluetooth on that works great. I've Bluetoothed that to my car stereo multiple times. I use a headset with that radio. I've never actually used it with the Yaesu because I don't typically carry the Yaesu. I use it here at home a lot, but I don't carry it out in the field with me, so I don't use the Bluetooth on it. I like the Bluetooth. I'm glad it's there. I do wish it would do more, but is it a make or break feature? Not really. I mean, if it didn't have Bluetooth and did everything else it did, I'd still think it was a great option. So I'm not buying the radio simply because it has Bluetooth.
No. And, and I've heard, and the biggest bitch I have with that radio so far is the way that they changed the scanning function.
Yeah, that's what everybody's talking about.
That's and I know there's guys that have really bitched loudly, and they continue to bitch loudly, and does it make it? Is it a make or break thing? Hey, you got to decide that for yourself.
Right.
If having it say memory scan or VFO scan while it's scanning is your die on the hill issue, then that ain't the radio for you.
Correct.
And then I heard, read on a forum somewhere that possibly might not be something that Yaesu can address. They might have, that might just be the way it is, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And if it is, so be it. Not a make or break issue for me, because once that memory locks onto a channel, I know where I'm at. I could see it. I could see what frequency it is, or what memory channel it is. So
right. Yeah.
Not a huge deal. And I don't even know how we got off onto an FT5 discussion.
I don't know. We just, I don't know. That's just where it is. But
yeah,
we should probably go ahead and wrap it up, Bob. We're at 15 minutes past 1 o'clock here in Texas, and we've lost about 20 viewers in the last 10 to 15 minutes. So I think people are having to go back to work. Now. Right. Yeah. Everybody's going back to work. So it's all good though. All right. Dude, this was good. This is it's always great to have you on the channel. Tell us about what you've got coming up next, if you've got any plans for next videos and whatnot.
Oh Lord, you know what? A little bit on the trip to Oregon, very little on the trip to Oregon. Did some APRS stuff, and actually one of the viewers here on the channel mentioned that he was tracking me on APRS as I was traveling through Oregon and Idaho, and let's see what else. So a little bit on that. I'm gonna do kind of a wrap up here on the FT5. That one I think is this week's video.
Okay,
it will be this week's video, and who knows what else is coming out of the mind. Bob Brodowski. What's inside of your head?
That's good. That's good.
Jason, it has been such a fun time hanging out with you here for lunch. We need to do this more often.
Yeah, I agree. I try to reach out to folks who are, not everyone's available during the day because of work schedules. So it's usually kind of easy to get you on here, Bob. So yeah, we should try to make this like a monthly thing if you want to. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So okay, good.
You got to come on to mine every once in a while.
Sure. Yeah, just let me know. I'm usually in the shack on Mondays. So Mondays are typically my day to sit here in the shack, do unboxings, do videos here in the shack. So usually unless I'm out of town or traveling or something. Usually I'm sitting in the shack on a Monday, so it'd be easy to join a Monday stream.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just let me know. That'd be great.
Okay.
Cool. Let me do a closeout.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks again, Bob. You guys go check out his channel. It is linked in the description below. And what they call the show notes now has a link to K6UDA radio. So thanks a lot, Bob. Appreciate it. Once again, we will be bringing back... Let me get back over here to this screen here. Right there. Tomorrow, about 25, 26 hours from now, we will be at Hop and Sting Brewing for North Texas Giving Day in the support of Dallas Pets Alive for a charity organization. And I'm just trying to get as many ham radio operators to come out to this thing as I can. Locals, obviously. I'm not asking you to buy a plane ticket. But should be a fun time. Going to be live streaming, so those of you who can't join us in person, join us in the chat. And looking forward to seeing what kind of ham radio awareness we can stir up with that. So with that, I leave you with the closeout scene, 73 to all. You guys have a really good rest of the day.